सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। ब्रह्मावरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदः क्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Blessed Vijayji, Lataji and students. All of us, we start our life with total ignorance. And God has given the means to shed the ignorance. All these Jnanendriyas, senses of perception. Not only we have a capacity to shed ignorance and gain knowledge, there is a desire to know also, urge to know also, which is natural. This urge to be happy, urge to live a day more, and urge to know is natural. By the age of 2, baby's buddhi opens. And then onwards, it keeps on questioning how and why. Either to others or to himself or herself. This is a seat of knowledge. As you know, it is called antahkaranam. Bahikaranani and then antahkaranam. These 5 senses, eyes, ears, etc., are external means of knowledge, and what we call as antahkaranam in English, mind, is internal means of knowledge. So, it is like when you travel and you have to stay somewhere for some days, you go with your luggage and slowly you open up the luggage. You bring out from the suitcase. First day you just have toiletries and dress. And after 2-3 days, the suitcase is empty. Similarly, every jiva comes with this luggage of entire antahkarana. Manashashthani prakrutisthani karshati utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va. Slowly sense organs open up. First, senses of perception open up, then senses of action. And the first one to open up is this tongue, which is 3 in 1. 2 in 1 is 3 in 1. It is a karmendriya to speak. It is a sparshendriya, sense of touch and sense of taste also. It's not simply taste. Therefore, you know, coffee is not hot as much as I want. Sense of touch. Since it is 3 in 1, Bhagavan has given shutter for it, okay? Sometimes some people don't use it, that is their problem. But then we need to learn to use the shutter. Anyway, I guess the word chatter also must have come from absence of shutter is chatter, it must be there. Anyway, coming back to this, it opens first. Then other indriyas. And then karmendriyas, hands, etc. Therefore, in Gujarati they say, when the baby learns to walk, Hindi also they say, Abhi paam aa gaye, walk aa gaye. It starts talking, they say, jeev aa gaye. Now this buddhi, as we grow, keeps inquiring, keeps knowing. But as you recently must have studied in Kathopanishad, Paranchikhani Vetrunat Swayambhuhu Tasmat Parang Pashyati Nantarat. The senses are designed to be extrovert. So the person wants to know the whole world, entire world outside myself. What is under the sun and what is beyond the sun. The jignasa is there. Bhagavan has given a desire to know. Like hunger, it's natural. And more you keep shedding ignorance, as Mundaka Upanishad says, Bhashyakara, very beautiful. This all so-called Vishaya Gyanum in the language of Mundaka Upanishad, Apara Vidya, it is avidya hisa. It is ignorance. More you know about the world, more you become aware about your ignorance. Any discipline, you study more and becomes a PhD, he knows what all he or she doesn't know. Aparavidya makes me more conscious about my areas of ignorance. Somehow we take ourselves for granted, the self. We were ignorant about it. I didn't know who am I. All others told me, hey, you are my son and a daughter and etc. etc. I believed it and went on. But this question as to who am I never occurs. And that I is the problem. Generally we think life is full of problems because two areas, so many things which I want and I don't have. And the flip side of the statement is so many situations and the people and the objects which I don't want, I am stuck with it. And I find myself always to be unhappy. Therefore, the whole life goes in restructuring what is around me. In this restructuring, I feel there is huge list of desires which are unfulfilled. So many things to be achieved and not achieved, therefore I am unhappy. And they give a simplistic solution as Swamiji would use. Give up desires and be happy. No expectations means you are happy. It doesn't work that way. Because it is like somebody saying in the beginning of in India they said, that cancel all the notes. Who is going to work? You can cancel notes of higher denomination, not 1 rupee, 10 rupee, etc. This thinking that I shouldn't have desires, I shouldn't expect doesn't work because I don't will a will. Desire doesn't seek my permission for coming, as that good old Hindi song. Main aau, and Jitendra says, Aja. Then desire will come to your mind. First he says, no, then it doesn't come. It doesn't happen. I find stuck with the desires. And we think that is the problem. That mind riddled with desire, I just can't handle. It is like holding on to hot potato. Same, stronger the problem, like a baby. I want this. If not given, the siren is blown. We don't blow external siren, but internally there is a lot of blowing going on. And that pressure is so much that shutter opens up and the fellow says something. What do we do? There are 3 possibilities. One way is you fulfill those desires and free the mind of the desire, then you are happy. Like a baby wants a toy. I just want it. And finally mother gives in. Happy. Got it. That is one way out. That's what we are doing. That doesn't work because I don't have one desire at a time. There are hundreds of them. So I get some momentary happiness, momentary contentment, but that doesn't last. Then new desires crop in. new wants come in, and therefore I am always busy, as I said, restructuring the world around me. And more often than not, I cannot restructure the world. And today's problem is a unique problem today. The technology has almost reduced to just nil problems of have-nots for survival. When we grew up, there was a water issue, electricity issue, anything was an issue. Now it is all available. There are another kinds of have-nots, status have-nots, subjective value have-nots, and more than that, I find today 80 to 90% problems are relationship problems, emotional problems. Formerly, we had to relate with number of people. Volleyball team of sibling was common, and cricket team was not a surprise. This is a joint family. There was no issue. Whole village you relate and grow. Now 1-to-1 is an issue, and both of them want to change each other. This fellow got angry and said, "You know, I am the head of the family. Things will go the way I want." She quietly said, "Yes, my dear, you are the head, but I am the neck which decides to turn the head, okay?" Be clear. I will turn the head, you don't turn the head. Anyway, so always I find myself wanting, and every wanting person is incomplete person. I can be free from want totally when I discovered myself to be complete person. That's a sthita prajna. Rajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmannevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastatacha. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha tasmat sarvan kaman rajahati. He is free from all desires. Why? Has discovered the self which is full and complete. Now, that means self means I am full and complete, and still I find myself wanting. The one who is trying to be free from desire by fulfilling the desires is called bhogi. One who is free out of self-discovery that I am full and complete is called Gnani. And in between is Yogi, and whom we call as Karmi. One who is relatively free from such desires, out of certain maturity. As all of you being Vedanta students, you know, the problem is of self-ignorance. Any ignorance can be removed when the proper and adequate means of knowledge are employed. Like even when I say, what is in my hand? You can say there is a book. What is the color of the page? You can say it is white. Because eyes are the means of knowledge for seeing the form, seeing the color. So also, what is the means of knowledge for knowing oneself? The answer is Aptavakya, the teaching of a teacher. You may say, you might have heard also, Shabda is a pramanam. Words are the means of knowledge. Why? The self-prapti is what as in the morning Vijayji said, it is praptasya prapti. That which is already achieved. Like even all of you must be knowing, Puja Swamiji's famous example, where are my glasses? You don't need anything. You need somebody's words to tell you, hey, it is with you. Or our traditional example, Dashamo Nashtaha. Those 10 students going for a picnic. The oldest one was given a responsibility to make sure that nobody gets lost. They crossed some rivers and jungle and suddenly remembered. He said, let me check. And he checked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dashamo Nashtaha. While they were searching, they met with some Mahatma. In the Sanskrit story, I studied that. And I was so happy. Swamiji gave me the name Paramatma. I was just saved by half a letter. In those days, people were, their identity was known by Guru. Who's Shishya? That Mahatma asked, hey, whose Shishya are you? They all said, Paramananda Shishya Vayam. Paramatma was not told, okay? There was Takara missing. So I was saved by one Takara. And then he told him, you are the 10th. Praptasya prapti shabda eva pramana. Now the question comes, when shabda is a means, and one more thing, the nature of knowledge is that you must have heard the word vastu tantram gnanam, kartu tantram kriya. Action is dependent upon or true to the doer. Knowledge is true to the vastu. In other words, action is open to choice. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyadhava kartum. Like that, this tissue, I wanted to show you some kriya. I can take a tissue, I can take this mic, I can take this tumbler, and I can take the tissue this way, take it with these 2 fingers, take it this way. I have a choice. Kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum. Every action provides a choice to the doer. Knowledge is not open to choice. That is called vastutra. If I ask you, what is the color of this tissue? Do you have a choice to say it is yellow? Do you have a choice to say it is red? Tell me, do you have a choice to say? Tell me, come on. You have to say you have. But you have no choice to seek. You can say, Swamiji, it is yellow, and put me in doubt. Or you can just say, negate me. But even when you say it is yellow, you know it is white. You have no choice. 1. Knowledge is choiceless. When the knower is there, known object is there, and the means of knowledge. Second aspect of the nature of the knowledge, it is vastutantram and it is immediate. There is no letter. There is no direct and indirect business. When I show you this, immediately you will say, oh, this is white. If I show you this watch, you say it is black. Right there and then. The very moment you operate your means of knowledge, you open the eyes, and the object being there, it takes place there and then. That is why back home in India, you pick up some smell when you pass by. That is why in India you can negotiate and drive. Otherwise, truck is coming, you took 2 minutes and then you don't know where you are. Right there and then, knowledge. When this condition these two things. Knowledge is true to vastu and knowledge is immediate, provided three things are necessary. Object of knowledge should be right in front of me or within the reach of my means of knowledge. I am talking over here. Somebody sitting outside hall may not hear, may not know what I am talking. Second, I should have adequate and proper means of knowledge. What is the proper means to know the form and color? Eyes. What do I mean by adequate eyes? Eyes that can see clearly, not with the cataract and numbers and all that. So, Pramata, the knower, and I also should be there to know, behind the means of knowledge. Quite often, means of knowledge is open, object of knowledge is there, knowledge doesn't take place because Pramata is lost. A typical Indian home scenario, mother in the kitchen, the food is ready, she will rush out, Munni, Munni, Mundi. And she will say, Berry? Huh? So then it comes there. She is lost in TV. She is lost in mobile. The Pramata was missing, the listener. If that is there, Pramata, Prameya, the knower, known and the means of knowledge, knowledge must take place. Now, that being a case, we say, Vedanto nama Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta is the means of knowledge for self, for Brahma Vidya. Pramata is I, the seeker, who wants to know, is there. There is a guru who is teaching Upanishad. How come knowledge doesn't take place? It quite often happens. And people keep listening Shastras for a number of years. But it seems they are Gnani by birth. Kutasthaha, changeless. They don't change anything. And then nothing works. You find some people. Why some people? Your own teenage children will tell you, Mom, you are attending classes, okay? You are going to Swami. Why? Brahma, I am one who is desirous of knowing. The thing to be known, self, is nitya praptaha. And the means of knowledge, Shastra, is there, still it doesn't take place. Why? There are 2-3 things. One, Kapurji just mentioned. The means of knowledge being Shabda, the words always lends for subjective interpretation. Always. Just look at a press briefing by the head of the state. Every newspaper will have a different headline. Every TV channel will say breaking news different. Because words lend itself for misunderstanding or non-understanding also. Very beautifully, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says in Kana Upanishad Bhasya, Ekasmad Guroho Shrunvatam Madhye Kaschid Pratipadyate, Kaschid Apratipadyate, Kaschid Vipratipadyate, Kaschid Na Pratipadyate. Same teacher talking. Some understand little, some do not understand at all, and some understand something which teacher has not said at all. One teacher must be wondering, what did I say this? I often come across, when I am there in India, some public function, I end up going always, if I am around. So there are announcers. So after my talk, he will say, Swamiji said this. And I wonder, did I say? He puts me into doubt. And this vastu, it is not as simple as Tvam Dashmos. The self, the nature of the self is what? Yattadadresham agrahyam achakshurashotram. It is free from any gunas. Shabda can describe only gunas. Jati, guna, kriya, sambandha. That's all the domain of the words. And it being beyond all this, one requires a teacher who knows how to handle the words. Because there is a very precarious situation. Teacher has to use the known words. If unknown words are used, student may not understand. Suppose I start in Punjabi, or suppose I start in Tamil. So non-Punjabi and non-Tamili people will not understand a word of it. So he has to use the known words, and not, if the words are known, the meaning is known. And if the meaning is known, there is no need to teach. So the known meaning has to be knocked off, and the fellow is made to see the unknown that is beyond the words. That is why it is called beyond the words. It requires, technically we say, Shrotriya Acharya. Teacher should make sure never to use such words which a student can interpret subjectively. There should be a discipline in uses of words. People often used to say, Puja Swamiji's English is very simple. He never used long British sentences and adjectives and all that. But it was simple but profound. I challenge you, hear all the CDs. You will never find Swamiji using such adjectives for self which can create subjective interpretation and misunderstanding. Often some people say, Atma is divine. But divinity is subjective, available for interpretation. Atma is beautiful. What is beautiful? Is subjective. In Africa, beauty is different. And in India, beauty is different. America is different. Never. You have to use the specific word and combination. So, along with the Shastra Pramanam, Shrotriya Acharya also becomes means of knowledge. Therefore, I said, Apta Vakya, of sentences of Shrotriya as well as Brahmanishta Acharya is a means of self-knowledge. Even though we may have such a teacher who knows the neck of communication, as he would say, teacher is an artist. It's a live communication. Then artist is a one who cannot repeat his or her performance. Never. He has such a beautiful painting. You please draw again. He will always improvise. Cannot repeat the same thing. So you must have noticed, Puja Swamiji, even the same topic, he will come out with something new. Has to be creative. Based on the students. His eyes makes him creative. It is not like every architect is a creative, except government PWD architect. They have the same type of houses. And then irony is, after 6 months, they start breaking up the plaster and all. That also same in all houses. You cannot make out in government houses. Anyway, so even if we have such a teacher, there is a possibility that one may not gain the knowledge. Why? Because, as I said the word, adequate means of knowledge. Proper and adequate. Please understand, ultimately pramanam for Brahma Vidya is akhandakara vritti. That's a pramana. Why? That vritti alone will destroy the self-knowledge, the self-ignorance. That atmakara vritti. That vritti is ultimate pramana. That means the knowledge has to take place in a buddhi, mind. You require adequate buddhi. Now the question comes, what does it mean by adequate buddhi? Then you better let us look at it. What is inadequate buddhi? First and the foremost is this knowledge is, as I said, knowledge is always true to the object of knowledge. Object of knowledge is self, that is very subtle. So one requires a buddhi which is subtle. You must have seen in Kathopanishad, Drashyate Tvagraya Buddhya Sukshmaya Sukshmadarshi. If that subtlety is not there, they always find it is the same thing you are talking. I don't know whether I shared with you this or not. I think I did last time. Puja Swamiji, when he started the course, while introducing the course, he said this. He welcomed everybody. I am happy that you are here. And then one sentence he said, what I am going to talk to you today, same thing I am going to talk after 3 years. And in between also I am going to talk the same thing. It is not that upakrama upasamhar. In between also abhyasa is also same. Then everybody was wondering, what to do all this? Same 3 years you keep listening. And he added thrice a day. Morning, afternoon, evening classes. And the night satsang also I will tell the same thing. Second line was important. But I promise you, each day of your stay here will be more joyous than previous. When can it be possible? When you go as though closer to yourself. More you see the self which is Ananda, more you become joyous and happy. But that requires subtlety. One. That is why we had a study of Vedanga necessary. That is why Nyaya, Tarka, Vyakarana, etc. was taught. In the modern scenario, you don't require those traditional vidyas to prepare the mind subtly. Modern educational system is enough. It helps. Not only educational system, the societal infrastructure, the communicative infrastructure, communication infrastructure, social media, etc. makes one settle enough. If one is simply a graduate or exposed to a certain world, one is ready. But second point is important. Subtlety is required. Along with that subtle mind, a special qualifications are required. Like any discipline of knowledge presupposes certain preparedness. Like even if I want to pursue engineering, I should clear 12th grade with at least some mathematics. If for me mathematics is mathakutis, then I cannot become an engineer. To be a doctor, I should have some background of biology. Without that preparedness, this doesn't work. Any post-graduation study is necessary prepared, and for any post-graduation study, graduation in that given field prepares you for the next. That's what modern system is. every grade, 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th grade, that gives you some quantity of knowledge and prepares you for the next step. Now this Vidya requires a special preparedness. In India, when they fill up the form, they ask few more things. Name, first name, last name, surname. Then second question, are you BC, OBC, ST, which you don't have here. They ask me. Certificate attached or not, income or not, all things they ask. But nobody asks there, do you speak truth? Do you have vairagya? Do you have samadhamadi? Do you have mokshecha? It's not required. And here, you don't find in any Upanishad asking, have you passed your graduation? Or have you done your PhD? What is your academic background? Why this difference? That calls for this preparedness. Like I should be 12th pass to go to university in that given discipline. Here, this is the fundamental difference. What I want to know is the thing that I want to be, which is not true then. Person doing his masters and PhD in zoology, and that too on the symbol of Republican Party. No, I don't want to tell. He doesn't want to become that. Person doing research on amoebas doesn't want to become amoeba. Person studying electrical engineering doesn't want to become electrons and protons. Here, I am not simply interested in knowing Atma, which is Satchidananda, I want to be. I am not working for PhD and professorship in university. That's a different thing. One may try to be PhD in philosophy so that I can get a job. But when one studies Vedanta, one wants to be what one wants to know. And what you want to be is absolute Ananda, is absolute Shanti, peace. That is absolute fullness, absolute contentment. To gain or to so-called become, as it is not becoming, to own up that, I should be relatively Ananda. I should be relatively content. Atma is anasakta. I should be relatively anasakta. Atma is shantam shivam sundaram manyante sa atma savigneya. Atma is total shanti. I should be relatively shanti. One more thing. Please understand. Ananda, Anantam, Shanti, all these are synonyms. Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma, Satchidanandatma, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Shivam is also synonym for Atma, synonym for Ananda. Shantam Shivam Sundaram Manya. Sundaram is also synonym. Why? Look at your experience. When you are happy, you are full. No complaint, no dissatisfaction whatsoever. In those absorbing moments of happiness, there are nth number of things that I want to change and I want to achieve, but momentarily everything is fine. I just happy at that moment. There is a fullness. Every experience of fullness is always joyous. And that is always peace. In those moments, you are at peace with yourself. You are content with yourself. These are all sinners. And therefore, I should be relatively peaceful, relatively content, relatively happy to discover total happiness. Technically called as Shuddha Antahkaranam. Why it is called Shuddha Antahkaranam? Then to understand Shuddha, you should know what is Ashuddha Antahkaranam. What is Ashuddhi? What is impurity? That's something which is not natural, which is outsider, is Ashuddhi. In a golden ornament, some degree of copper is Ashuddhi. Correct? In a copper pot, copper is not Ashuddhi. That which is unnatural, that which is something outside is Ashuddhi. All these likes and dislikes and certain attitudes are Ashuddhi. Why? I am Ananda. They deprived me from my Ananda Swarup. When I am relatively free from them, there is a manifestation of self, which is Ananda, which is contentment, which is fullness, and I find myself to be full and complete. So I should be relatively Atma to discover absolute Atma. It is like, I often tell this, nowadays there is too much of craze about yoga and meditation. They want meditation. Everybody says, teach us meditation, teach us meditation. You know, it is like this biblical statement, love thy neighbor as thyself. Correct? You might have heard. The fellow can love neighbor if he is little loving fellow. This fellow is Mr. Bajakana, always fighting with his wife. He cannot love the neighbor. To love neighbor means anybody else. To love somebody, I should be basically a loving person. To give, to contribute to the unknown, I should be basically contributory person. Similarly, to meditate, I should be meditative person. People are only little spelling difference. Not M-E, but M-A. Meditative. M-A-D. The American meaning. He went mad, angry person. Therefore, when they sit for meditation, often they get up with anger. Often they get in the meditation only, all the things to be done list comes out. You know, all the post-it letter comes there. I have to phone call and I have to finish the project. And suddenly thinks this much mala back. And then this bullet train goes, drrr, mala over, and then follow on the job. This fellow is workaholic, cannot meditate. You have to be meditative. Similarly, to discover the self, I have to be self. For Antahkarana Shuddhi, there are a number of means. You know, Karma Yoga. But more that I will come little later, even our prayerful living, puja, japa, etc., bhajan, kirtan, this is all for necessary preparedness of the mind. And certain attitudes are also necessary. And the one and the only important is live in the awareness of Ishvara. I use these words. To see the Ishvara manifesting in karma and karma phalas, that also gives that necessary preparedness. And the last one is certain attitudes and values. Vedanta requires certain more attitudes. And those values and attitudes, please understand, are expression of Atma. In fact, all universal value also, they all define national value, social value, cultural value. All universal values are based on this one thing. You might have heard from Swamiji also. We'll just brush up shortly. There is a universal mutual behavioral expectations. This is the basis for universal value. Mutual behavioral expectations. Nobody wants others to lie to me. Whether the person may be an aborigine of Africa, the Adivasis have not seen the light of the modern technology, still living in deep jungles, or a Nobel laureate. Nobody wants that somebody should lie to me. Even a baby who doesn't know the word lying, who doesn't know the word satyam, also doesn't want mom to lie. A typical Indian scenario, baby has something it wants. The father is trying to fondle the baby here and baby picks up a one pink paper from the pocket. 2000 rupee note. Give me! Give me! And more it is told to give, more the fist becomes tight. Father knows it will be torn. Give me, he shouts. Without loosening the fist, baby blows the siren, calling for help. Immediately available from kitchen. She comes. What's the problem? No, give me. I said, give, I'll get you. Gujarati they say, તમે રહેવા દો. હું એને પટાઈને તમને કહીશ. I'll pull the baby and get you. This fellow thinks, એમાં તો હું પટી ગયો. તને પટાવતા આવડે છે એમાં તો હું ફસાયો. You know how to pull, I got hooked to you. I'll get you, give me. A mother, all over India I have seen this. This is typical Indian thing. Because they wear sari, here they wear skirt. How can they put in the lap? She puts in the lap and and starts a story. The attention is diverted to something else. Multitasking baby cannot do. And then expression and description is so enchanting, baby gets lost in the story. The fist loosen up. Kago le gaya. Kawa le gaya. You should see the expression of a baby. Looks at the sky and looks at the mom. Baby has a question. Kagado ke kagri? Which crow has the? Baby is not ready to take it. Doesn't know it is a satya. Question. Once or twice it may work. Third time it gets up. Does pradakshina. Doesn't find. Again couple of times he can fool. Fourth time he will push the mom from the back. Come on, get up. And baby doesn't want to be lied to. Baby doesn't want to be fooled by mom. That's a mutual expectation. Satyam becomes value. Ahimsa becomes value. But understand, all these are expression of Atma. These values are not something alien. You are not to acquire the values, you have to manifest them. Therefore we have word Satya Narayana. Truth is Narayana. Though we don't say Ahimsa Narayana, Atma is Ahimsaka, because there is no second thing. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, one who knows the self will be himself. Values are there, as Puja Swamiji would say. What should you do to gain peace? Don't disturb. Peace is natural. Stop creating the disturbance. It is natural. So also, very beautiful definition. In Taittiriya, you see the Bhashya and Vanamana Tika and other things. The Satyam Vada, there is a Vakya. You should speak truth. What is the definition of speaking truth? Andruta Varjitam Satyam. Stop speaking untruth. Truth is always there. All these values are expression of the self. Not only values, all these attitudes, some of them which are talked here are also expression of self. That means you. You are what it is talked about. Since these are the means, in a way secondary means. Why secondary? Though I have to know in the mind, buddhi, manasa eva anudrashtavyam, that prepares the mind for the self-knowledge. They themselves are called as knowledge, jnana. There is a set of few verses in the 13th chapter when Lord is revealing the self. 13th chapter is a Mahavakya. The first two verses itself is Mahavakya. What is Mahavakya? The sentences or a sentence which reveals the identity between Jiva and Ishvara is a Mahavakya. First line is, 13th chapter, first verse is, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramitya Vidhiyate. This body is called Kshetra. Etadyo Vetti Tam Prahuhu Kshetragna iti Tadvidaha. One who knows the body is called knower of the body, Kshetragna. Kshetram Janati iti Kshetragna. First verse. Who is the Kshetragna? I am the Kshetragna. I know my body. I know who am I, etc. I know the condition of the body. Even though all machines may say something, I know what it is. Quite often people have a problem. Swamiji, I always get stomachache. Then I ask him, did you do all tests? Oh, all kinds of tests have been done. Doctor says you have no problem. The fellow says I have a problem. You don't need a doctor to confirm. You know yourself that I know this body. That is I. But who is this I? There are so many eyes. There is everybody has one eye, so-called body inside, as though inside. Second line Bhagavan says, Kshetragnam chapimam viddhi sarvakshetreshu bharat. In all bodies, that knower I is me, not you. Means I am the one in all the bodies. Means nothing is separate from me. That is being told. Having told this, from verse 7 onwards to verse 13, that you have a printout with you, that he says some 20 set of values and attitudes. And while concluding he says, just look at the 11th verse, Etad Gyanum iti proktam agnanam yad ato anyatha. Ataha anyatha. Other than this is called ignorance. Means keeps you in ignorance. It is not ignorance, it keeps you in ignorance. You are already ignorant. This is Jnana. Understand, knowledge is vritti, ultimately. Brahmakara vritti is Jnana. But the vritti by which it takes place, that pramanam also can be called as knowledge, but the mind requires necessary preparedness. As I said earlier, you have to be relatively what you are. That is self. The expression of the self. That relative I is gained through these values, because of which knowledge becomes immediate. Therefore, they are also called as Jnanam. Actually, it is not Jnana. Please understand. This love, compassion, service, these are all expression of the self. It is self only. See this. I told you, Ananta, Ananda are synonym. Similarly, the synonym for Ananta and Ananda is love. At the mental level, when you love somebody, there is happiness. Nobody says, I love you so much, but I am very unhappy with you. It doesn't work. I am so unhappy with you. I love you. No, it doesn't work. Love breeds happiness. And in fact, love is expression of happiness. And when there is love, there is fullness. There is contentment. When there is a total love, by the way, there is a total acceptance of the person. This is all expression of self. So to gain the self-knowledge, I should be a loving person. And the love in a kriya, at the mental level is love. At a vyavharik level, love makes you giver, makes you contribute. When you love somebody, you just give unconditionally to that person if you love the person unconditionally. Therefore, every mother is a giver to her own baby. This is love. And give up everything. She becomes a total contributor in terms of her time, energy, everything. Because she loves the baby completely. So this giving is also expression of self. Compassion is also expression of self. All that is myself. Why doesn't it express it? Therefore, these values and attitudes are to be, I will now correct my word, discovered. That is you, not cultivated. How do I discover the values? How do I discover certain attitudes? You need to understand what obstructs the expression. If it is natural, it should come out. If it is me, why should I not be like that? There's an obstruction. Like in a water pipe, there are pebbles and leaves in the terrace, blocked. Then the water doesn't come out as it should. What should you do? Just remove the obstruction. That necessitates certain insight, certain degree of insight about our own ways of thinking, our ways of looking at the world outside, our ways of relating to the world. So you need to understand ourselves, your own mind. Please see this. These are not the matter of advice. And this is not something to be looked upon as ideals. As Puja Swamiji would often say, you would never find him using the word should and must. You should do this, you must do this. And people get carried away by the slogan, I should do this, I must be like this. It doesn't work. It's good to begin sometimes an inspiration, but that should and must is one end and actual I is another end. That creates a more split. You need to understand what obstructs the expression of these attitudes. What obstructs the expression of these values, even though they are natural to me. And one thing, so as I said, we have to understand our own mind. And second thing, these are the values or attitudes for self-introspection, not for judging others. There is another problem. You keep branding others. This fellow is like this and that fellow is like that. No. It is for me to see myself, whereby I have a natural expression of who am I, in a relative world. With this background, we shall look into it. There are 20 values. In the 12th chapter, he gave some 33 other values in attitude. Please understand, whether they are 20 or 30 or 10, all are expression of the self. The self is talked about from different perspectives. One is enough. It is like they say, it is like pulling a leg of a table. If you pull one leg, all other legs get pulled up. If you just commit to one value, automatically other values come in. Because it is same self, expression of the self. So, just look at, we'll study this. As I said, these are all natural to me. There are certain obstructions caused by my own ahankara, my own wrong thinking, my own wrong values, my wrong or improper attitudes that obstructs, and we'll see what obstructs and how it is natural. Okay? We'll just chant these verses today, and the first one we'll just look into for 3-4 minutes. Amanitvamadambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यमात्म विनिग्रह इंद्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम अनहंकार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुख दोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जन संसदी अध्यात्मज्ञान नित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा First one he says amanitvam, second is adambhitvam, third is ahimsa, fourth is kshantihi, arjavam, another one is acharya upasanam, next is shaucham, then sthairyam, then atma vinigraha. See this? Mana means respect. Mani, one who demands respect, or one who is mani. Amani, who doesn't demand respect. Tvam is an abstract noun. Amani means a is a prefix. If a word begins with a vowel, the prefix when there is akara, it indicates the opposite of Shanti, Ashanti. Kartavyam, Akartavyam. When the word begins with a vowel, then it is an. Okay? Anagraha. Agraha, anagraha. So, mani means mana means conceit, and manitvam, conceitfulness, and absence of status of being mani. One who doesn't demand respect is called amani. And the status of being non-demanding respect, in fact, non-demanding person should be ultimately, is called amani. Look at this. I said just one thing, how we will see in the detail later. These are all natural expression of the self. You must have heard the Vakya, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. One who knows the self, he as though becomes self. As though becoming, because he is. One who discovers, who knows that I am Ananda, he as though becomes Ananda. He discovers that I am Ananda Swarupa. So this person, who is a wise person, who knows Aham Satyam, Aham Gnanam, Aham Ananta. I am full. The one who is full and complete will never ever demand any respect from others. Why should I demand? Why I want respect? When somebody respects me, I feel I am somebody. I feel little content. I feel little more happy. If not given respect, I am little unhappy. I am discontent. The person being full and content doesn't bother whether the other person respects me or not. Therefore, amanitvam is a natural expression of wise men. And wise man is nothing but embodiment of self. So, amanitvam is natural expression of the self. To own up that self, which is amani by nature, I should be relatively amani. Understand? Remember this one thing. The object to be known, as though I use the word object, or the thing to be known, is something which I want to be. And since I want to be that, which happens to be absolute, I should be relatively relatively happy, relatively anasakta. Therefore, this teaching doesn't work. When somebody is dead near a dear one, and the fellow is crying, that moment the person has total vairagya. Swamiji, samsara sar hai. I don't want to eat. I don't want anything. And that time you tell, hey, you are Ananda. It doesn't work. They may give you dukkham. It be another way. I should have relative dispassion, relative happiness, relative peace, relative contentment. So these are values to be discovered. Again, concluding, to be discovered means remove the obstructions which causes you one to be mind. And therefore it needs to be understood, not simply to be advised. Not simply to be looked as an ideal. I have to be Hanuman. It doesn't work. So we will discuss these values from tomorrow. Okay? We'll have insight into our own ways of thinking, how our mind thinks, what kind of values do we entertain, and what are the obstructions. These improper values are obstruction for natural expression of myself. We will look into these details. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.